Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is John Glanville, and John is a board member for the Sustainable Change Alliance. Welcome, John.
Well, welcome, Cinder. It's a pleasure and a joy to be here with you on a wonderful Friday afternoon. Thank you for inviting us to give a little more information about Sustainable Change Alliance.
So I'm fascinated with this whole idea, and I think a lot of other people are interested as well. So in a nutshell, how would you describe it? Like investing, but making your investment count towards sustainability, or how does that work?
I think a lot of people have this desire to do something that improves the world condition. I think sustainability, there's an alignment with sustainability with making the world a better place. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of ground zero. Building on that is the desire to interact with people who have similar focus and interests. And so when Sustainable Change Alliance was initially, the concept came together in 2018 with a conference at Antioch on what does sustainability mean. There was a group of us that said, there are legs to this. There's an opportunity for us to actually work together as a group to define what is sustainability and how do you implement sustainable practices in our world today. And so this group, and I'm going to say we're up to 40 members now, it includes some of the larger entities in Santa Barbara, UCSB, Santa Barbara Foundation, Cottage Hospital. Also, a number of individuals like myself decided that this was worth actually putting an organization together. So we put together a 501c3 for Sustainable Change Alliance Foundation. Now, there's also an investment arm, Santa Barbara, Sustainable Change Alliance Incorporated, and there's a smaller group of us who actually co-invest in sustainable ideas. And we look at a number of opportunities on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, and we can have a sidebar conversation about the investment portfolio at another time. Staying focused on the foundation, Sustainable Change Alliance Foundation, we do educational programming. And and we do field trips. We are on our way up to we have an opportunity to go visit a number of people who are making a difference in realms of energy, environment, agriculture, healthcare, and more. Sustainability touches all parts of society and touches all parts of the economy and touches all parts of our day-to-day lives. So we're looking to actually provide sort of that window into what is sustainability, how does it, what are some of the things that people are doing today in the realm of sustainability, and how can we change society for the better with sustainable practices.
So these programs that you put on, are they open to the public?
Generally, we like to encourage people to join Sustainable
To join as a member?
As a member.
Okay.
In order to attend. We do public forums. We do, there are, I'm going to say, well, it's more than quarterly, so I don't want to say monthly, but it's more than quarterly. There are programs that we actually provide open access to the public, and I think there's a nominal fee for attending, but we also provide good, food, appetizers, and wine. So there's, there is a quid pro quo there. We will make it worth your time, but it's really the brain food is what we're interested in. It's when people get together and they talk over what is, what do they face and what are they doing. A lot of what the opportunity is, I didn't know you before, but now, now I understand you've got an interest in this or this or this. For example, Sandra, I know you travel quite a bit. You may have an interest in sustainable travel. You know, what does it mean? Everything from buying credits for your airline ticket for offsets for carbon, all the way up to, you know, going to a country and actually doing some work on the boots on the ground kind of effort. I'm not sure. It seems like, you know, that would be a natural fit with what you and Dennis like to do.
So you folks, or at least some of the members, kind of go to different places to find out who, sort of, you might say, best practices in sustainability, and then you sort of mentally process that and bring it back to Santa Barbara? Is that how
well, it's both what is homegrown here. So, for example, the White Buffalo Trust, which has their operation up in Yamala Beach, and they've got a couple hundred acres that they're doing sustainable agriculture. And it's a variety of different things that they're trying to work on to make that operation sustainable. And it's sustainability has, we like to think that it is the best opportunity for our society going forward. But it's not easy. If it was easy, we'd all be doing it. And so there are, you know, in any arena, there are trade-offs. And so sustainable agriculture, there are challenges in terms of how do you do it in a productive way, and if it is productive, why isn't it being adopted, you know, by the broader realm of agriculture? Agriculture is one of the big industries for Santa Barbara County. So we have a lot of compare and contrast of, you know, hey, this is what we think we should be doing. This is what's in practice going on in industrial agriculture. So, you know, you've got that discussion going on. So we spend a lot of time looking at, you know, what are the trade-offs? What works, what doesn't work?
And then once you identify what works, then you work with philanthropists and other investors to try to fund that?
Yes, there's a pool of individuals, organizations, foundations, and others, and government entities who provide financial support for sustainable practice. So there's a lot of different routes to go. We have provided actual investment funding, and that's the Sustainable Change Alliance Incorporated investment group has provided seed funding to get actual corporations up and running. But back on the foundation side, it's much more of an education focus on our part. It's, you know, how do we bring people together under the tent of sustainability and give people sort of the ideas of how do you implement stuff. We have hosted in collaboration with, for example, UCSB, we did a multi-day conference regarding the oceans. And so the Bryn School, we were collaborating with the Bryn School on that.
Yeah, Bryn School, that's a great
it's
place
big
to
stuff.
collaborate.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to study marine, offshore, oceans, you know, environment, what better place to be than you know, the Bryn School, UCSB, the Pacific Ocean, all within a stone's throw of each other. So
whether it's agriculture or the ocean or anything like that, when you say sustainable practices, do you mean sort of like what practices can we implement that will help our planet be more sustainable, live longer, healthier into the future? How would you define sustainable?
Excellent question. And I think there's a lot of different ways to define sustainability. Ultimately, in my mind, the equation is, does what we're doing have as least a footprint as possible? Are we doing something which actually contributes more than it takes out of the system? Are we actually accounting for all the components? And one of the big questions around our current economy is, what do we do with energy? How do we deal with extractive industries that, and is oil really the platform we should be working with? Now, for those of us who watch things like the oil and gas industry, there's this, in the last 15 years, is this migration from, we're going to have, all the, keep us on track with the oil and gas industry, with a oil-based economy, over to, there's actually a lot of people who are actually driving electric vehicles. There's actually a lot of people who are looking at, is there an alternative way for me to power my house? I'm not sure, Cinder, whether you have solar panels, but that's one of those things where, 15 years ago, we weren't really doing solar panels. We didn't have batteries in our homes that would actually keep us, powered up. And I tell you, one of the advantages of having a battery backup, or solar and a battery backup in your home, is when the grid goes down for, let's say, there's this whole question about power lines causing forest fires.
Right.
Now, you don't really think, when you think sustainability, you're not really thinking, oh, gee, what's that got to do with forest fires? Well, if you remove one of the big causes of forest fires, which is down power lines in high wind scenarios, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, so if the utilities can turn off their grids in certain locations where there's high winds, or they have a power outage, or they have a down power line, if they can actually do that before the fire gets started, then all of a sudden, how do we, instead of it, just sitting there in the dark, if we all have solar and battery backup, that's sustainable.
Yeah.
So that's just that's a for example.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, I would probably define sustainability as the ability to do things in a way where you're taking less out of the system, or you may actually be adding something to the system, which equates to more than what you're taking out.
Gosh, that's a big endeavor. Gee, keeps you busy. I can see that.
You could almost say we're fighting entropy, but it's not quite that grand, and I'm not going to say that we're one doorstep away from Newton's 3 laws, but I do think that there are enough people who are concerned about the future, are concerned about where we're going as a people, and it's not just the United States. I mean, this is a lot of the world is concerned about consumption. They are concerned about how we're going to live. And one of the light bulb moments in the last 5 years was the pandemic. And when the economy shut down and all of a sudden, hey, we got clear skies over Los Angeles for 6 months because nobody was going to work. Now you've got this big transition to remote working.
Yeah.
And you've got, okay, so there's this, digression into how do you manage a group of employees who are all at home?
Yeah.
And that then loops back to, okay, so how do we keep everybody powered up at home?
Oh, John, there's so much to think about.
That's what's fascinating about this arena. I really appreciate this opportunity. You just sort of get this wheel turning.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing all this thinking and all this good sustainable work. We appreciate you and your group, and we appreciate you coming on our show to tell us all about it.
Oh, my pleasure, Cinder. And let me just offer an open invitation. I will shoot you a invite to our next event.
Oh, boy.
I would love to have you join us, just so you can see up close and personal. Just who are these people? Yep. Why does this matter? And maybe you can ask them what sustainability means to them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bet you bagels and donuts you're going to end up with a different answer than you got from me today.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I'll look for that invitation. And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.